Hey BTC University, I'm Marina Sellecchia, known as @ColorByMarina on Instagram. I'm a TRUSS professional, global ambassador, and I'm here to teach you my next level brunette. So we have my beautiful model, Gabriella, here. As you can see, she's got gorgeous hair. She does have some highlights in there, but she's really looking for more of a dimensional look. She wants to see those ribbons, those contrasts of color. So with this next level brunette technique, what I'm gonna teach you is placement, which is key for these looks. And what's really important is not only where you're placing the highlight, but also the depth that you're leaving in between the foils, which is what's gonna make those highlights really pop. So I'm gonna start off, the first step that I'm gonna do is spray her hair with the Stop Damage No Metal Spray. This is gonna remove any heavy metals or any impurities out of her hair. It's gonna protect her hair during the color process, and it's gonna replenish the amino acids that are lost during the color process. This is gonna help to keep her hair really strong and healthy while we color it. So you're gonna spray that and just leave that right in the hair, and you're gonna color right on top of it. Next, I'm gonna section the hair, and I always do it based off of where they naturally part their hair. And then I'm gonna start at the top of the head, down to right behind her ear. This will be my first section. We're going to do the same exact thing on the other side, from the top of the head to behind her ear. And then in the back here, I'm going to do a V section in the crown of her hair, kind of like right where the roll of the head starts. So we'll do like a triangle section here. And then I'm going to go straight down from that point to the middle of her head. Now this is the placement and the sectioning that I do for pretty much every single client of mine. But then what I do in those sections obviously varies based on a couple of things, based on the density of their hair, based on the final end result that we want, and based on whether it's a blonde or a brunette. But the sectioning is pretty much the same for all of my clients. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sections. Now I always like to start in the back of the head because I feel like it's just easier if I need to rinse those foils in the back if they're done before. By the time I get to the top, it's much easier to just lay them in the bowl and pull those foils out. Now my very first section that I'm going to do, this section is really important to me. I feel like a lot of people think it's just because it's underneath, and especially with long hair, when you wear your hair down you don't see it anyway. This first section that I'm going to take from behind the ear, diagonal back, this section, when you wear your hair down, most girls pull their hair down right in the front. Where does this fall? Right in front of her face. So this section is really important. It's just as important as the front section. This is what's going to connect that front money piece section to the back and make everything flow and be cohesive. So I'm going to start with this first section that again is going to fall in the front of her face. So this section is really important. This is what's going to connect that front money piece to the back of her hair. So from this first section, I like to weave everything. I just find that it gives you a more softer, natural look. So I'm going to take a diagonal back, and I'm going to hold the hair nice and taut, and then I'm going to weave. Then from that weave, I'm going to tease, and I like to kind of just go 1, 2, and 3. I don't like to go crazy with my teasing. And this hair that I've teased out, I like to hold it with my pinky, and then I take a little metal clip and just clip that tease out of the way. This way, when I'm painting and I'm creating that blend in the foil, that hair is not in the way. So then I'll take my board, place it under the hair, push any of those little hairs out of the way, and take my lightener. Now when I start the application of my lightener, I always like to start about midway down. So I apply the lightener there, and then I hold the ends of the hair with my thumb so that I'm always keeping pressure on this hair. And then with my brush, I kind of take the corner of the brush and start working up to create that blend. And I really want to make sure that I'm working on an angle with everything, so I'm placing that lightener higher towards her face and keeping the depth lower in the back. You want to be sure to create the blend in the foil. I feel like a lot of people always say, oh, well, you're just going to color melt afterwards. Color melting shouldn't be done to perfect anything or to cover up any foil work. It should be done, it's kind of like the icing on the cake. Like the cake should be good by itself and the icing just makes it better. That's how I feel about color melting. It's not meant to fix anything or fix problems, but really just to enhance your color. So that blend should really be created in the foil. Because when that semi-permanent color fades from your toner, from your color melt, what are you going to be left with? You're going to be left with whatever you placed and how you placed that lightener in the foil. So I'm going to be careful of not overlapping any of this color that's in her ends, like these lighter pieces. I'm just going to lighten the darker pieces that need to be lightened and kick those ends out that are already a pretty caramel color. Now, when I fold my foil up, I'm not going to just fold it like this, because then this lightener that's down here is going to get up here where I don't want it to be. So we're going to double fold the foil, and this will protect this blend that I've created here from getting ruined. And I'm just going to lock my foil into place. And I'm going to move on to my next section, which I'm going to pivot off of this foil that I just did. Because then pivoting this way is going to give you this section of hair that falls over her ear, that again is going to fall right in front of her face. So we're going to do the same thing, and I like to hold the hair out from the direction that it's growing and position my body in a way that I can just hold that hair out. So again, I'm going to keep a lot of tension. I'm going to weave her hair. So the only hair that's left out between these two foils will be what was weaved out. And then we're going to tease 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to clip that hair out of the way. And again, lift that hair and place your board underneath. If you don't work with a board, I feel like you need to. Working with a board, especially in this kind of work, is really key to creating these blends. It gives you total control of where you're placing your lightener, and it helps to give you good saturation and just total control of where you want to place that lightener and create those ribbons. Now we want to make sure that we have heavy saturation in the middle and ends. And then a lighter saturation in this transition area. A lot of people then always say, oh, well, aren't you going to be left with warmth there in that transition area? I actually prefer there to be a little bit of warmth in that transition area, because that is also what's going to help you create that blend. So if you're going from a really dark base to lighter ends, having that little bit of warmth in that transition area is really going to help you to create that blend. So we're going to lock this foil in, and we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side that we just did on this side. So for the lightener, I'm using both Blanc Blonde and Air Libre. So Blanc Blonde is going to be our blue-based lightener, so it has blue pigmentation in the lightener to help to cancel out any warmth while lifting. And then Air Libre is our freehand lightener that you can use both open air and in a foil. And this has tons of essential oils in the lightener, so I like to combine the two so that I get the benefits of both lighteners in one. The thing I love about these lighteners too, a lot of lighteners that you use, when you mix them over time, they swell, and then especially with this kind of work that I do where I love to create the blend in the foil. When you use a lightener that then swells, your blend that you just worked hard to create in the foil gets ruined. This lightener, where you put it, where you place it, that's where it stays. It doesn't swell, it doesn't expand, it's amazing.